be available on the House website. We will now proceed with today's agenda. Panel 1, the chair calls its first panel from the Bureau of Economic Geology. Members, I ask that you reserve all questions until the end of the panel's remarks. We have Mr. Paul Dubois, assistant. We also have Mr. Paul Dubois, Assistant Director of Technical Permitting, here as a resource witness from the Railroad Commission. He is not on the first panel. He is not expected to testify, but if you have any questions, panel, on today's discussion, he will be available. The chair now calls Dr. Alexandros Savadis, Manager and Principal Investigator, Texas Seismological Network and Seismology Research, TexNet, and Mr. Mark Blunt, Assistant Director of External Affairs. Gentlemen, will you come forward? Okay, Mr. Blunt, we have you registered as Mr. Mark Blunt on behalf of the Bureau of Economic Geology and registered to testify neutrally on today's proceedings. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Darby, and the other members of the committee for allowing us to speak to you today about our work to address seismicity in Texas. Before Dr. Savadis report on seismicity, I'd like to briefly let you know a little bit about the Bureau of Economic Geology. We're the oldest research unit in the UT system and the second largest at UT Austin. We were established by the legislature in 1909 with the purpose of finding and assessing the mineral resources of the state to determine the economic viability of producing them. In fact, in our lobby are photos of old geologists on horseback leading pack mules out into West Texas searching for deposits of copper ore and other economic minerals. Although the technology is vastly different, our basic mission of researching the resources of Texas hasn't changed. We're the State Geological Survey of Texas, and our director holds the title of State Geologist. We're located at UT's Pickle Research Campus in North Austin, and we host about 130 geoscientists, engineers, and economists operating out of 17 state-of-the-art labs. About 2/3 of our research is energy related, but we conduct extensive research on the state's environmental concerns. In addition to our traditional research into sandstone and shale rock formations to help produce more oil and gas, we're studying a large number of important topics for the state, including hydrogen storage, subsurface nanotechnology, soil moisture to predict droughts and floods, wildfire detection, and coastal processes, which we monitor with our airborne LIDAR system. The legislature also funds our 25-year-old State of Texas Advanced Resource Recovery, or STAR program, which conducts geoscience and engineering research to increase the production of energy resources by assisting small operators across the state who benefit from our expertise. To date, we can track well over $907 million in severance taxes and royalties generated for Texas from that production, vastly offsetting the $64.3 million in state funding that STAR has received over the years. In our role as the State Geological Survey, last year we launched a new initiative we call the Texas Imperative to thoroughly assess Texas' most important natural resources. Integrated, multidisciplinary teams have been formed and have begun to take a comprehensive look at vital resources like our water, critical minerals and aggregates, naturally occurring hydrogen and helium, and geothermal energy. These assessments, when finalized, will provide invaluable information to you, your colleagues, and to other decision makers. I'm really excited to let you know that today actually marks the first day on the job for the Bureau's new director and our state geologist, Dr. Lorena Moscardelli. Dr. Moscardelli has headed up our tremendously successful STAR program over the last 4 years, but actually started at the Bureau studying for her PhD in 2003. She has extensive experience as a researcher and an effective program leader, both in industry and with us, and she looks forward to meeting you and to working with you in the near future. Thank you once again for your time today and for your essential support of the Bureau of Economic Geology.
Dr. Alexandros Savadis, on behalf of the Bureau of Economic Geology and registered to testify neutrally on today's proceedings. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. The TextNet Seismic Monitoring and Seismology Research Program is a multidisciplinary program funded by the state of Texas. TextNet's mission is to serve as an independent scientific body that monitors earthquake activity, analyzes associated data, and distributes findings and data to government, industry, and the public for their benefit and the benefit of the state of Texas. The TextNet network currently operates over 200 stations, exceeding the original plan for only 60 stations, in order to properly characterize seismicity in the state of Texas. In 29 seismic stations out of the 200, the seismometer equipment is situated at the bottom of a cased hole, which reduces the effect of ambient noise when recording ground motion. Additional seismometers are deployed by TextNet where there is increased seismicity in key areas of the state or there are nearby industrial operations. Critical to these deployments is the placement of one or more seismic stations directly above earthquake activity to improve depth estimates, which is a critical parameter for mitigation strategies. From its inception, TextNet has established standards for seismic monitoring stations operating a real-time, high-quality network. All monitoring systems are autonomous and provide real-time data 24/7. Every week, 1 to 2 field crews are in the field maintaining the stations as needed. TextNet monitors its own stations and the number of stations deployed by other groups in Texas and neighboring states. TextNet provides automatic earthquake detection in key regions, such as the Permian Basin and the Eagle Ford area of South Texas, and provides manual review of seismicity across the state for all events with magnitude greater than or equal to magnitude 3 in less than 20 minutes time. TextNet also provides statewide manual review of events down to magnitude 1.5 by the next business day and down to magnitude 1 for the Midland Basin, providing a baseline for quantifying the earthquake activity as it develops, which is essential for mitigation purposes. These analyses are made publicly available in an earthquake catalog, which is the primary source for subsequent operational decisions made by both the Railroad Commission and by industry operators. Specifically, the Railroad Commission has established the Northern Culberson Reef Seismic Response Area to respond to the increased seismicity that TextNet had reported in the area. Produced water injection operators created the operators-led response plan within the same area. A decision was made to curtail deep produced water injection in the area. TextNet, real-time monitoring and timely earthquake source characterization provide the basis for changing the produced water injection limits that ultimately reduced earthquake occurrences in the area. The Railroad Commission and industry operators applied a similar approach in the Gardendale and Stanton seismic response areas in the Midland Basin using TextNet products such as the earthquake catalog and the produced water injection and pressure reporting tool. Those products are also primary data for several of our research initiatives and as well data to other researchers around the state. Since 2016, TextNet has published 95 peer-reviewed journal articles. Our research is designed to reduce bias and modeling errors, which helps in identifying earthquake locations and in the critical assessment of earthquake depth. Additional research goals include improving the accuracy of surface locations and distinguishing the impact of shallow versus deep produced water injection on any associated seismicity. Differentiating between shallow and deep injection impacts is important for the Railroad Commission and industry to develop mitigation strategies. Seismicity in the state of Texas has increased since 2009. Currently, the highest peak of seismicity statewide was in 2022, with 8 earthquakes of over magnitude 4.5. The seismicity dropped in 2023, with only 2 earthquakes of over magnitude 4.5, but then it started increasing again in 2024, with 5 earthquakes of over magnitude 4.5. As we speak, There have already been 4 earthquakes of greater than magnitude 4.5 in 2025, 2 in Culberson, 1 in Martin, and 1 in Cartes counties. The number of earthquakes in the Delaware Basin of West Texas has decreased since 2022, when earthquakes of magnitude 5.4 and 5.2 occurring in 2022 and 2023 in Colson area. However, the area along the northern Culberson and Reeves counties still contains the highest level of seismicity in the state. Seismicity is increasing in the Midland Basin and to the east, with a magnitude 5.2 earthquake in 2022 and 2 magnitude 5.1 earthquakes in 2024, 1 in Martin County and 1 along the Scotty-Fisher County line. The seismic activity extends to the south and the east from the central part of the Midland Basin toward Irion and Mitchell counties. We also observe a slight increase of seismicity in the Eagle Ford area of South Texas, with the highest magnitude earthquake since 2017 occurring in 2023. That was an earthquake of magnitude 4.7 near Falls City. There was also an earthquake of magnitude 4.5, which just occurred in January. We think that curtailing the injection of produced water into deep formations close to the geologic basement, especially in areas where seismicity is present, is necessary to mitigate the risk of high magnitude earthquakes. Seismicity monitoring is important. The acquisition of high-quality seismic data, detecting earthquake presence and migration, as well as the compilation, maintenance, and quality control of earthquake catalogs, supports stakeholders in making operational decisions that can reduce the number and intensity of induced earthquakes across the state of Texas. TexNet's development and distribution of a growing set of web tools enables simple and rapid data distribution accessible to the public, the Railroad Commission, and the industry. We would like to thank Chairman Darby and the committee for their support.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize that Bobby Guerra and Josie Garcia are now present and on the dais. Welcome. Members first, any questions? And if I could ask, if you're answering a question directly to one of these two gentlemen, would you repeat your name when you answer the question for the record? Members, any questions? Okay, well, let's talk about your ongoing relationship with the Railroad Commission. Clearly, what you testified to is certainly alarming. I know Dean Craddock represents Martin County, and I'm from that part of the world also, and so your testimony regarding the recent events, 4 earthquakes over 4.5 this year. Let's talk about your ongoing relationship with the Railroad Commission, how that data is transmitted to them, and what kind of interaction do you have with the Commission as this data comes across across the TexNet?
My name is Alexandros Savaidis. So our system automatically detects the seismicity and provides this information to the Railroad Commission. We have established what we call an earthquake notification system, so that whenever these earthquakes occur, this information goes to the Railroad Commission people, and that is used for mitigating any risk related to this seismicity. We also have developed the injection and pore pressure reporting tool. That is where operators connect to the system, and they address and report the injection volumes and also pore pressure information for their wells.
What kind of support staff do you have, and how does that staff interact not only with you, but with the Railroad Commission?
We have 4 groups. One is the field engineering team that goes and deploy and maintain the seismic stations. The second group is the earthquake analysis team, that they analyze and manually review the earthquakes on the next business day, and also are part of what we call duty seismologists, that they're available 24/7. So they all get a notification, a call on their phones, so that they have to analyze the earthquake when it occurs if the magnitude is above 3. That is our requirement. And then the third group is the IT group that maintains the systems we have. We spend a lot of money and time on those systems because those are the ones that archive the data that we get and also do all the processing automatically and also all the developments we have. And the fourth group is the research group that they provide checking existing methods or developing new methods on how to and how that needs to be implemented through our system so that we can provide better and more prompt results to the Railroad Commission.
Clearly, I mean, this is a data-driven process. I can remember back in 2015, 16, some members of President, when that happened, we had earthquakes at a time we were actually in a committee meeting. And I noticed Representative Guerin in the audience here, and we had a earthquake in Azle, Texas, and which he represents. And so we were able to focus on the lack of real scientific data. We had very primitive and limited data monitoring system. We had almost no mobile arrays, but we committed to letting science drive the discussion and not emotion. So we were able to actually fund the TextNet system and have permanent and mobile arrays. Can you speak to the sufficiency of what you have available to you today? And is that, in your opinion, sufficient to give you the scientific data necessary to make recommendations to the Railroad Commission on how that data is to be deployed in the field?
So for the area of the Delaware Basin, which is west part of the Permian Basin, currently the network has a distance geometry so that this can be used for monitoring the area. For the area of the Midland Basin and to the east of the Midland Basin, we lack a lot of seismic monitoring stations in order to provide the necessary information for the Railroad Commission.
Excuse me, did you say lack? You lack?
Yes.
Okay. So from the Midland and the Delaware Basin, which is seeing a lot of activity now, are you saying we lack sufficient monitoring
Yes,
for that,
exactly.
those areas? And what does that look like? Do you need more permanent arrays? Do you need more mobile arrays?
We need more what we call mobile portable arrays, yes.
More portable?
Yes.
Have you made a specific request of the legislature for this equipment?
Yes.
Is it currently in the process through the House Committee on Appropriations and
Yes, it
Senate
is.
Finance?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but in your opinion, with that added deployment, would you have the capability of having technology to be able to give you the data necessary to make more up-to-date and accurate projections on the effects of deep well injections and other disposal wells in those areas? Would you have what you need at that point?
Yes, based on the current plan and the existing seismicity, we think that we will be able to provide the necessary information to the Railroad Commission.
Okay. Members, I would submit to you, if you've not been out to the Bureau of Economic Geology, if you recall Indiana Jones when they had the Ark of the Covenant at the end of the movie, and they were wheeling that crate back, and you saw this great expanse of crates and large building get lost in there. That's what this facility is. I think the Ark may be hidden in the Bureau of Economic Geology, but certainly they have lots of resources there and core samples. I was fascinated with all the core samples that you're able to save in that. Members, any questions? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Zavedas, you do have a request with appropriations for this additional, the mobile units. What's the size, or what number are y'all asking for? What's the ask for that equipment?
So we are asking to keep the existing funding that we received through yourselves at the previous legislative session, and we ask another 1 million per year additional to making sure we can expand the network and sustain the hardware that is needed.
Okay, so you said in your testimony that y'all are asking for that we don't have enough equipment in the Midland and Delaware basins. You need more equipment,
For the Midland Basin.
but you're asking for to maintain the funding you currently have. To go out and purchase new equipment,
Yes.
okay, that you're gonna need. What are we talking? How much money are we talking that you need in addition to your continuation of your current budget?
1 million per year.
In addition to your current
Yes.
budget? Okay. He said 1 million. Yeah.
State your name again, if you have more information to give.
Alexander
Representative
Savaidis.
Dean.
Okay, so 1 million extra a year to buy equipment.
Yes.
That sounds awful light. How much equipment are we talking about? You can get back to us? And what are you talking about? But I'm not a rocket scientist, but it doesn't sound like a whole bunch of money for the type of equipment that we're talking about.
So we're asking for 15 new instruments for the Midland Basin, and then 15 instruments that we are aging that we need to change, so that we can keep them in the Midland Basin, so that we can identify the seismicity in the area.
Okay, last question. If that goes through, if everything's approved, how many total testing areas with the proper testing equipment would that give you in the Midland and the Delaware?
We can cover the central part of the Midland Basin and to the southern, because that's where we see the seismicity is extending. And the Delaware Basin, we are already covering most of it on the North Cumberland Reeves counties and also to the Pecos County to the south.
Okay. Does New Mexico participate with you in the Delaware?
New Mexico has its own funding on this, and they are lacking actually a lot of funding. They are currently USGS is the one that supports an array, a portable array in New Mexico.
But if they're under funding, if there's seismicity in their area, would it affect the Texas area of the Delaware?
Yes, that will be the case.
Are you all negotiating and talking to them about them doing what they need to be doing in terms of additional testing and monitor equipment?
Yes, we met actually last week with the people from New Mexico Tech that they are doing this support, and we explained to them that it's necessary. But the feedback we got is currently they don't have any funding for deploying their own instruments.
And theirs would be about the same amount of money?
I would say even higher because they have almost no instruments in the area. It's a USGS portable array that is alive there for a few years, and if USGS decides to remove this array from the area, that will be a big problem for detecting the seismicity in the
So they're
border.
waiting on the feds to pay for it. It's a problem that New Mexico's having. Typical. Thank you.
Well, following up on, okay, Representative Garcia.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Hello, sir. I have a question in terms of partnerships. Do you all partner with the DoD at all in terms of seismic research?
My name is Alexander Savaidis. So we partner with DoD. We had a few projects with them for the Ellington Airport, the Fort Bliss Airport as well, and now then Naval Station in Corpus Christi. So that is funding outside the state funding, but we work with them because they have interest to deploy seismic arrays for their energy resources, future energy resources. They would like to implement in their sites.
Because I'm wondering, with the vast amount of military support we have in Texas, if we couldn't look at maybe leveraging some of our DoD partnerships as well for some support. I mean, I know that there's separate barrels of money and support, but I was just curious about that. And also, is there any collaboration to our neighbors to the south, Mexico? Do you all have any type of collaboration in terms of research there?
We have contacted them because there were a few seismic monitoring stations they had close to the border. Actually, there are very few, like 2 stations. And we have seen seismicity in South Texas in the border with Mexico, in El Lindo. That's the area we have induced seismicity.
And in your professional opinion, sir, do you think that there would be room for perhaps expanding our partnerships with those entities and others?
Certainly, yes. If they get additional funding, there will be opportunities to work with them.
Devil's always in the dollars, huh?
I mean, as Chairman Darby said earlier, we're data science here, so we have to have them observation that we need. So the monitoring stations are important. Otherwise, you cannot understand what is happening.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Members, any questions? Thank you, panelists, for your
Thank you.
testimony. Members, any questions perhaps for the Railroad Commission this time? If not, Chair lays